Hello everybody, I'm Maria, the Creative Italian, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm going to be sharing with you a do-it-yourself, easy crochet big bead bracelet. Now this is a bracelet you can do if you're a beginner at crochet, or if you're more advanced and you've never seen this idea before. This is something that you can easily do. And so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so this is the bracelet I'm going to be showing you guys how to do. As you can see, it is crocheted on the back side. And I'm not telling the fib. It actually is. And before you get started, you want to measure your arm. Most women's, you want to measure your wrist. Most women's wrists are about 7 inches. And also, I suggest measuring your toggle clasps together, just like that. And this one comes to just a little bit under, well, it's right at 2 inches. So that means I have 5 inches of beads to work with. This bracelet came out to 8 inches. So I'm going to be eliminating these 2 black onyx beads. I'm not going to be adding them on to the bracelet I'm getting ready to make because I want it to be closer to 7 inches instead of 8 inches. And the 8 inches on this bracelet does not include the dangles. I'm not adding that on, just the length of the bracelet itself. Okay, so here are the tools I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using 5 22 millimeter howlite beads, a toggle clasp, some extra hematite, 8 millimeter hematite, 8 millimeter black onyx beads, 2 millimeter howlite beads. I'm going to use 4 of those for my dangles. Some head pins. These are 2.5 or 3 inches. I'm going to be using a few of those. Also some jump rings that are 4 millimeter. And I'm going to be using 4 of the black onyx beads, which are also 8 millimeter. My crochet hook is 2.35 millimeter. A pair of snippers, some GS hypo cement, a ruler, 0.5 millimeter cotton waxed cord, 22 gauge wire for my dangles, round nose pliers, snippers, bent nose pliers, and needlepoint pliers. And that is pretty much all I'm going to need for this project. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and add the beads on. I'm going to add on one end of the toggle clasp right here. Oops. Just going to add on one end of the toggle. It doesn't matter which end you add on first. And then one of my 22 millimeter howlite bead, an 8 millimeter black onyx bead, another 22 millimeter howlite bead, then another 8 millimeter black onyx bead, trying to get this straightened out here, another 22 millimeter, another black onyx bead, 8 millimeter, and then another 22 millimeter howlite bead, a black onyx bead, 8 millimeter, and then one more 22 millimeter howlite bead. Okay, so that's my last howlite bead, and now I'm going to add the other end of my toggle clasp. Okay. All right, now I'm going to make a slip knot. And I'm going to take the back cord, I wrapped it around my finger twice. I'm going to take the back cord and slip it over the front cord. Take the back cord, slip it over the front cord, and then pull it up. and then tighten it up so it fits just nice and snug on my crochet hook. My crochet hook is 2.35 millimeter. Now, I'm going to hold this tail, this extra cord down here, I'm going to hold it down there tight while I'm doing my chain stitch. Otherwise, my chain stitch is going to be too loose. So I'm just going to hold that down. Whoop. And then pull through, like so. And then I like to take my hook and go back and forth to tighten things up. Okay, so here, when I go to crochet this bead on, I'm not going to go all the way to the top of the bead. I'm going to go just a little bit down below it, just a slight bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull the cord through and make my chain stitch. And then take my crochet hook and go back and forth with my crochet hook, because that makes it nice and tight on the back side of the bead. I'm not chain stitching in between the beads. I'm not doing an extra chain. I'm just going from one bead to the next and doing my chain stitch. Let me get this cord going here. Okay, so again, I'm going to come up just... This cord is getting stuck, you guys. Okay, it sometimes does that. It won't come up. I'm sure y'all have had that happen. Okay, so here I am. You can see where I'm at. I'm just slightly below the top of the bead where the hole is. So now I'm going to go ahead and take the cord and pull it through and then come up at the top of the bead. So as you can see, everything is traveling really neat, and it's centered on the back of the bead, nice and tight, but not too tight. We don't want them too tight, because if your beads ever get bunched up on you, it's because it might be too much tension, and I can be heavy-handed, so I have done that, and that's the reason I'm sharing that with you guys. So anyway, just check yourself. If it gets bunched up, you'll know you know it's probably just crocheting a little bit too tight. All right, there we go. And now I end up at the very top. See, if I brought this up to the top and then did my chain stitch, it would be too loose on the bead. That is my experience. Might be different for you guys. Let me pull these out of the way. But that has been my experience. All right, now I'm going to come up here and do this bead here. Now, on the round bead, I do come up to the top of it. It doesn't really matter as long as I make sure I move my hook back and forth and make it nice and tight. Okay, so here I am again. I don't mean to be repetitive, but I'm just trying to show you guys. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and do my chain stitch and then bring it up. And see, everything so far is laying, as you can see, everything is laying nice and even, and it's not doing, it's not doing wonky stuff, you guys. Okay. And then here I've got my black onyx bead. I do my chain stitch. I move my hook back and forth, tighten things up a little bit there. And now, again, this cord's getting stuck, you guys. I love wax cotton cord, but I want to tell you something. Sometimes it just doesn't want to pull through. Whoop, I moved my... well, I just moved my camera. Okay. Now it's starting to come up. Okay. And then just come up like so. Okay, now on the toggle clasp, I'm going to do the same thing. Actually, right here at your toggle clasp, this piece right here, the bar, which this would normally be like a straight bar, like on a lot of toggle clasps, they look like that, okay? Now, I recommend doing 2 chain stitches right here, only because it will fit better into the other end of the toggle clasp. So I'm just going to do 1 and 2, just like that. It just gives it a little bit more wiggle room when it goes into the other end of this. And that's just been trial and error, you guys, that I have figured that out. Okay, so now I can do, actually, I could do just another chain stitch here, if I can get that down. Okay, it's just flip-flopping around on me here. Okay, now I'm just going to pull that through all the way and cut that tail off. Okay, so I'm just going to tighten that up, just like that. And I am going to make another knot here, just like so. And I do not want to cut these tails off. I want to stress that you do not want to cut these tails off until you've added on the GS Hypo cement and let it dry a little bit, and then cut your cord, and then it's okay to do it. I don't recommend cutting the cord beforehand, okay? Because what I have found is if I cut the cord first and then I put this on, if it hasn't dried enough, the cord comes undone, then I'm making the bracelet all over again. And you know what? I want to avoid that as much as I can. Okay, so I'm just going to put this Geo cement on right there. This is, whoops, this is just a lifesaver, you guys, having this GS Hypo cement in your jewelry making. I mean, it just makes such a difference in holding things secure, your cording secure, and even wire. I've used it on wire too. I like to add on a little bit on the back side as well. It disappears. You can't even see it. It's clear. You'll never know, you know, that it's on your cord, believe it or not. Okay. While that's drying, let's go ahead and make our dangles. So I've already made one right here, okay? So I am going to make another one, and I'm just gonna add a bead, I think it's like 2 millimeter, to be honest with you. It's tiny, it's about 2 or 3 millimeters, I think. This is an 8 millimeter hematite right here. And then I'm gonna add another one at the top. Now I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to put them in here, close to the end here. I don't want this hole to be too terribly big. And I'm going to bend. You can see how I have my pliers. I'm going to bend the wire away from me. Then I'm going to hold on to the bead and I'm going to turn my pliers up like so. Now I'm going to take the wire and come over the top and down, just like that. And then I'm going to turn it flat and bend the wire to the side, like so. So that's what it looks like. Looks just like that. Y'all see that? Okay, so now I'm going to take my bent nose pliers I'm going to use, and my needle point pliers, and I'm going to take this wire and grab it and bring it around and over so I get a real nice wrap here. Well, that kind of looks a little wonky, doesn't it? Okay, like so. And sometimes I just have to keep flipping it over so I can get my chain nose plier under there. Let me just grab that right there. I like for it to come down over the bead a little bit. Whoops. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and go ahead and snip that, and then take my needlepoint pliers and just sort of bend that in a little bit so it's not sticking. Getting sticky. Uh-oh, what'd I do here? Whoop. There we go. Like so, just press it in. And now see, that's a little bit crooked. That's no big deal. I could just straighten that out. Okay, now I am going to add those to my toggle here. And I'm going to add them to this hole right here, to these two holes. It really doesn't matter which hole you choose to add them to. It doesn't make any difference, really. But I am going to open up my, I'm going to open up my jump ring here, and I'm going to just move it away from each other, just like that. In other words, when I open it, I'm moving this to the back and this one to the front. And adding that on, and then adding it on to the hole in my toggle right here. And you want to hear a clicking sound when you put those, when you close your jump ring back together. If you hear that clicking sound and you don't want to see any space between, you don't want to see anything, any space in between the opening. That makes it, you know, secure. And then I'm going to do that again. So I'm bringing this one forward and that one back. That way I don't open it up too much and I don't end up distorting my jump ring. And then I go in the opposite direction until I hear that click. And there you go, I got that click, so that's really good. That's good. All right, so let's go ahead and cut this cord. I am safe to cut the cord now. Let's see, I'm gonna cut the one where I added the hypo cement first. Whoop. I got my arm in the way of the camera. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, now, I always like to take my pliers and kind of squish down where I added the hypo cement. Just sort of squish down on it. And it just kind of presses everything to, I don't know, just to me, it just makes things a little bit more secure. That's just me. Okay, so there you have, let me just flip this around so y'all can see how this goes. Okay, so let's go ahead and measure this, but not without the dangles. So this came out to 7 and about 1/8 inch. So that's about where I want it to be. You want it to look just like this. You want it to be a straight line. So that way, when you put it on a wrist, everything's gonna lay really, really nice. It's not gonna be flip-flopping around. It's just gonna work out just so nice for you guys. So there you go. Okay, so there is that big bead, easy crochet bracelet I just got finished doing for you guys. I hope that you'll let me know how it works out for you. Go get you some big beads and give it a try and let me know how it works out for you. If you have any questions, if you run into any challenges, leave it in the comments. I respond in less than 24 hours. If I don't, it's real unusual, but it's because it's beyond my control. But anyway, if you like my video, if you like any of my videos, if you give me a like, that'll help get my video out there so more people will find out about me and they might be looking for what I have to offer. If you want to know when I'm going to be uploading a new video, if you will hit the subscribe button, you'll know as soon as I upload a new one. And thanks for watching. I had fun showing you guys this bracelet. I had to go through several video tries before I finally did it because things kept going wonky, you know, but hey, I think I finally got it nailed for you. And hope everybody's doing great. We're looking forward to a beautiful fall season. And thanks for coming by, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.